Good morning. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Larry. Today I'm just going to go over, I wasn't planning on making a video today, but since it's above 40 degrees, although it did snow here recently, I'm going to go ahead and make a quick one. I just need to get outside for a while today, and this is a good opportunity. There's nobody around. Imagine that. Public park, and it's snow on the ground. It's wet. Well, anyway, what I'm going to talk about today is the boomer bashing comments I've got over the last several months in my comment sections on whatever video I was making. And some of these I've heard multiple times. Some of these I've only heard a few times. I'm sure you all have heard some of these also. The first one is pretty standard. Okay, boomer. A standard derogatory remark. Like, I don't know why they say that, but okay, boomer seems to be pretty standard with a lot of people. Another thing I got several times was boomers ruined the economy and then told everyone else to work harder. Well, I've never told anybody else to work harder. You can work as hard as you want to work. And I don't think boomers ruined the economy. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but I don't think boomers is what caused anything to do with the economy. Um, I do know one thing. I worked a lot of hours when I was younger. I'm sure a lot of you all did too. I can't tell you how many times I'd work when I was a self-employed contractor. I'd leave the house at 6, get home at 6, sometimes 7, sometimes 3 o'clock. That was a good day. 12, 14 hours, pretty standard things. And I don't see too many younger people doing that today. So I wouldn't say we ruined the economy. I'm saying we helped build the economy maybe, but I don't think we ruined it. Even when I was working for a few years at General Motors right out of college, uh, I'd work I'd work all the overtime I could work. I'd work 6 and 7 days a week. You don't find a lot of people willing to do that these days. Another thing I've gotten a lot of times is you just don't understand technology. Well, you're right. I don't. I didn't grow up with it like a lot of younger people did. Anybody under 50 probably grew up with technology, and I did not. And most of us here did not. But I know enough to get by. I know enough to get by. Now, what I can do as a painting and drywall contractor, I could walk into a house with a 2x2 hole that a plumber left in their bedroom wall because they were replacing some pipes in the bathroom on the adjacent wall, and I can fix that 2x2, 2 foot by 2 foot hole in the wall. I could repair it, re-drywall it, and paint it before I left in under an hour. In under an hour. Now that may not be technology, but I charge $300 for that, and I'll take that anytime. That's a skill that a lot of younger people don't have that do understand technology. Also heard this one. You can't buy a house today like you could back then. Well, you're probably right. Bought my first house in 1977. Seems like 100 years ago, but it was in a rundown section of town. It wasn't the greatest neighborhood. It wasn't the hood or anything like that, but it wasn't the greatest neighborhood. And but I bought it. One income, one income. My wife didn't work. I was fresh out of college. She was pregnant at the time we bought the house, and but it was one income. Now we didn't step up and try to buy something more expensive. Then we traded that in. We moved up and bought a duplex in a really nice section of town. That's my only real estate regret, is I wish I'd have kept that one. It'd been perfect for us now. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, uh, duplex in a real nice section of town. Been perfect for us in retirement with some extra income. But lo and behold, I was not that smart. Now we moved into our next house. It was 850 square feet. We lived there for 18, 19 years. 850 square feet. 3 boys, 1 bathroom. Couples today, they say, "Oh, you can't buy a house like that today." Yes, you can. I know 2 young couples that do it. What they did, one went to college, one did not, got some skilled training. They both make average incomes. I'm not going to say great incomes. They're young. They're in their early 20s. They're young. Um, but they had decent jobs, and they saved their money. Nice down payment on a starter house, not a McMansion like everybody wants to have. I think a lot of younger couples today, they have 2 incomes, and they want the big house. They want the big house like their parents have. Well, they're not willing to start out lower. These 2 young couples I know in particular, they did, and it can be done. It's not easy. All 3 of my sons had houses. Now all three of my sons had houses, and none of their wives work to this day. They don't work outside the home, so you can still do it on one income. Here's one I heard a lot back in the day. Well, we're guilty. Boomers are guilty of this. Back in the day, we refer to that quite often. Like you're stuck in the past. We're not stuck in the past. That's just our reference point. I know 40-year-old adolescents who would say the same thing back in the day, referring to their glory years of high school or their glory years in the military. And I don't think it's much different than our back in the day. I have one friend of mine. I can't hardly talk to him. I see him on a regular basis, pretty regular basis. I can't hardly talk to him when he would talk about back in the day when I played basketball. I finally told him one day. I said, "You do realize that was a half century ago." Those who don't know, I'm 6'7", and back in the day, that was pretty tall. I said, "You do realize that was a half century ago?" I said, "That's such a small part of my life. I don't even have much memory of it." So anyway, I think that covers all generations. Then here, I've gotten this one several times about boomers complaining about young people being lazy. Mm, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't call young people lazy unless they are, but that crosses all generations, covers across all age groups. You show me an expertise in an area, and I will definitely listen to you. I will listen to you. When I was thinking about setting up this YouTube channel, my granddaughter had just set up a podcast or something on her own. She said, "Well, Pops, I know I can do that for you." So she came over. The family was over on the 4th of July of this year, and she helped me set up the channel. Now, I didn't record any videos or anything for a couple of weeks, but she helped me set up the channel. If you need my help in the kitchen, you have to tell me what to do, because I am not an expert in the kitchen, although I am getting a little bit better since I do a lot of my own cooking because of my diet myself. But I listen to my wife. She's an expert in the kitchen. She's a great cook, and I thank my lucky stars every day that I married a good cook. But you show me your expertise, and I will definitely listen to you. And I think most boomers are like that. A mechanic. I know nothing about cars. I never got into cars. I know a lot of people watching this channel probably worked on their own vehicles. When things started getting electronic, that's when I stopped working on them. That was many, many years ago. You show me your expertise, and I will definitely listen to you. I've heard this one a few times. Smartphones are confusing to old people. Yeah, they can be. I got to tell you, my first one, I got a smartphone when they first came out, because I had two of the people I worked for had a lot of property. They had one. They started texting. Well, I didn't text at the time. I on my flip phone. I had my first smartphone. I had it for about a week, and I gave it to one of my sons, because I fired up my old flip phone again, because it's all touch screen. That's when touch screens first came out. Anybody younger probably doesn't remember that. That was when touch screens first came out, and I'd get a call or something. I couldn't even answer the phone because my hands are usually in paint or drywall mud or wet, and it just wasn't going to work for me. But about a year later, I got another smartphone, and I've been pretty decent with it ever since. Now my phone does a ton of things that I don't even know how to do, and don't need to know how to do. When I first started this channel, I had an iPhone 6. Folks, that's 10-year-old phone, 10 years old. I upgraded to an iPhone 16. Not because I needed to. I probably could have kept using the older one, but I figured it was about due. So I bought one, and now I can write off at least half the cost of this new phone on my taxes. It's called tax breaks. And I know enough about that, about smartphones. And I've heard this one so many times. Boomers think you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yeah, I think so. Nobody's coming to save you. Um, People today want to be victims. I think people today they just want to play the victim card. They want to blame everybody else except themselves for the situation. It's called personal responsibility, personal accountability. I've got teenage granddaughters who are more personally accountable than most adults I know. They are accountable for their own actions, and they know that. But anyway, I've been collecting these over the last few months. I just wanted to get this off my chest a little bit. A lot of weird comments, But and I respond to most of them, but not all of them. If they're nasty, I just remove the comment. But if you got anything out of this, like, share, subscribe. Until we meet again, I'm gonna continue to press on towards that goal.